to some sounds of the North to kick off the 11 a.m. hour, PA.
The heck we doing here?
Well, some sounds of the North. And as a matter of fact, I think we should kick this back in gear a little bit. Remember 7, 8, 9 years ago? Mm-hmm. We did kind of like a highlight package, a montage package.
Sounds of the North.
I think we should start doing that again. But for today, I pulled some clips from some people speaking at podiums regarding our rivals within the NFC North. And here's Matt LaFleur when asked about the O-line.
Yeah, I feel really good about it, and now it's time to go play, and I can't wait to see us against a really good front, against a really good defense. So it'll be a great challenge for us, but I'm excited to see how our guys will respond to that challenge.
Matt, what jumps out to you about Jalen Carter, just kind of the rookie season he put together last year?
Yeah, he's a freak. He is a freak show. He can do it in the run game. He can do it in the pass game. That freak is a term of endearment. So, but he is, he's an elite level athlete. He can do anything out there on the field. So I think he is certainly, he's going to keep improving. And I think he'll be, if he's not already, one of the premier defensive linemen in the league.
So that's head coach Matt LaFleur, sounds of the North. PA, if you're a Packers fan, how you feeling about their moving company? From Rasheed Walker, they're sticking with him, the 22 7th-rounder. Elgton Jenkins, elder statesman. We know about Elgton staying healthy, and he can be pretty damn good. Josh Myers at center. Their first-round pick was Jordan Morgan, and he'll be playing right guard, and then Zach Tom. But as they travel down to Brazil, you mentioned it, I think they left this morning, and that's basically almost all of today in preparation for Friday's game against the Eagles in Brazil. What do you think he's thinking about with that moving company in front of Jordan Love?
They're good. I mean, they're one of the 3 or 4 best teams on paper, as prognosticating would go, into the 2024 National Football Conference season. And they're good because of the way the quarterback meshed with the head coach all the way up until that final play. And you know, if I'm part of the Packers covenant, I'm not concerned that that's who Jordan Love all of a sudden has become, that he's just going to go willy-nilly and decide to throw away a season when he's following the plan beautifully and Tucker Kraft is wide open left flat and he just decides he's going to run out to the right and throw it to Dre Greenlaw. I'm not thinking about that or concerned about that until it happens again.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, what happened there? I mean, it's, you know, when we look back at this, Jay Love, you're not going to like what you see over on the left because that's the first down to get us into plus territory and we're going to win the game. And when we win the game, what's next? Well, we got a shot to go to the Super Bowl. So I'm just curious to see how Jordan Love plays because I don't know. I'm not going to say he's nondescript. He has a nice arm and he had a lot of great accomplishments at the end of the year. But I still can't exactly define who he is.
Yeah.
Like, is it a big arm? Are we deep game guy? Well, he's a game manager, as we and you know, I said that last year after they lost, and Packers fans went into a tizzy because, you know, the ones who went into a tizzy are dumb. And they just don't understand that Joe Montana was a game manager, and so was Tom Brady. Okay, so it's actually a compliment to say that somebody can manage a game and follow the plans until they don't, and then their team's dead. But I'm just trying to figure out exactly who Jordan Love is and, like, what makes him descript, what makes him identifiable with the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
And I think the Green Bay Packers are looking for that as well. You get the good year out of him. Now it is that identity piece for the quarterback in this offense. Sounds of the North.
See, like J.J. McCarthy, I'll tell you this already.
Yeah.
McCarthy is going to come into a situation where he's going to connect the dots of first down divinity. He's going to manage a game. But anybody who now has seen him closely enough in training camp and some other spots, he can't help himself when it comes to the swashbuckling. He slides up in the pocket and, well, the play's dead. I mean, the way it was supposed to go is still there, but it's hard to find because you got to run around and run away.
Yep.
Where there is some gunslinger to J.J. McCarthy that's going to frustrate coaches when it doesn't work, but they're also going to be lifting him onto shoulders when it does. So, like, that's already kind of identifiable to me with him. But then again, I've seen so much more of him than Jordan Love, even in a truncated amount of time.
To the Chicago Bears, DJ Moore named team captain. Caleb Williams named team captain. The rookie, the first overall pick. DJ Moore talking to the media about Caleb.
But I think I'm pretty funny.
You also don't get a ton of rookies who get team captain honors. What does it say about Caleb to get that recognition?
I mean, he went out there and proved himself. Took command of the offense, and he started opening up, and I guess people saw that, and we rocking with him.
Did he surprise you this training camp with just kind of how he took the reins and how he improved and played like that?
Can I offer you a popped Quaker rice
Oh,
cake?
come on. Clipping penalty via YouTube.
What happened?
Yeah,
You got clipped in the middle?
I got the ad clip.
Oh, it could have been a lot worse.
I mean, when you're number one
Max
overall
and
pick,
Zach
you
look
gotta
at
go
that
out there and
computer.
Make something shake.
It builds equity up for
Make
ads.
something shake. And he went out there and exceeded everything that we had set for him.
So that's DJ Moore. Apologies for the clomp. Talking about Caleb Williams. They set goals for him. He's the number one pick. He's got to go out there and show something, right? He's the top pick. But let me ask you this. Sounds of the North. That was DJ Moore. He's a team captain. So is the rookie Caleb. Could the Bears fan base argue that DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen, and Cole Kmet, that they have the best group of pass catchers in the NFC North, PA? Could they make that argument?
Yeah, well, they absolutely could. Let's see. Dobbs, Wicks, Reed, Jefferson, Addison, question mark. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta. Oh, wow. I mean, the best one, too, is Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. Jefferson and Addison would push that. Moore and Allen would push that, too, but we just need to see it.
What about Jefferson, Healthy Hawkinson? Could you put that in the Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta? The way they use Laporta with Goff? I mean, he's going to have... I mean,
what a great question. Amon-Ra St. Brown is more physical than Justin, so you can do different things with him, but he's not as good an overall the field receiver.
Right.
Over the totality of the field receiver, Justin's just better and more explosive. You can do deeper things with him. Laporta did last year what no rookie tight end has done in the history of the NFL, and he's absolutely one of the best tight ends in the NFL. TJ is one of the best at some things, but Laporta does it all. His run blocking is nasty. It's nasty. He blocks you to the sideline. What a great question that is. Now, because Caleb Williams is from the group that grew up watching Patrick Mahomes. So Caleb plays like Mahomes. Now, whether it works, that's only time will tell, Davey. But when you watch him, and when you watch like 20 to 40 plays, you see Patrick. He drops the ball down by his hip. He has some lazy things, but he's in control. It's an oxymoron. It's controlled laziness. He knows exactly what he's doing. Caleb's the bomb. He's the bomb, and unless he gets in his own way like Diggs, I can't see him not winning at just as MVP or superstars go. I just can't see him not becoming that. He's just the genuine article, man. Holy cow.
Finally, sounds of the North to the Detroit Lions. Here's Jared Goff talking about having to game plan or not having to game plan for Aaron Donald as the Lions take on the Rams in the season opener. Let's cross our fingers for no YouTube ad clomps.
Yeah, that's definitely a win. He's obviously a Hall of Fame player and was a center point of their defense and someone you always have to plan for and be aware of. And now it's not to say they don't have good players filling in for him, so it'll still be a challenge.
Game planning for week one is always a little bit difficult.
He's no Boogie Basham.
Don't play in the preseason, and they've got a lot of young guys along that defensive line that haven't played either. You find it maybe a little bit tougher? I know you played them last year, but are they a little bit different? Is it tough to game plan this early?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, they'll have their own wrinkles, and as will we. So it's always different. New coordinator, and obviously he was in the system, has been there for forever. Coach I have a lot of respect for in Shula, but you never know what they're going to do on defense, and we'll have our plan and adjust accordingly.
What is a weakness with the Detroit Lions? As I was listening to Goff, and I picked him over Aiden Hutchinson as he was talking about some of the new faces in the room. Yep. That's something we're going to get to see come to fruition this weekend on the defensive side. But even as you're talking about Amon-Ra into Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs has the right to be even more explosive and better than he was his rookie year.
Yeah.
Brian Branch, their Swiss Army knife. The linebacker spot's still weird, but it seems like they get around it with that defensive front that could be ferocious with Aleem McNeil and a healthy. They're crossing their fingers. It's Marcus Davenport, but I'm thinking...
Well, DJ Reader is...
Oh, DJ Reader!
Oh, wait a second. We started Davenport last year. That's who it was. Somebody asked me a question last night. So it was Daniil and Davenport.
Yeah.
Wow, and we're rolling into it this year with Turner and Grenard and Van Ginkel. Oh, wow.
Exactly.
What a major, major upgrade that is.
All those lost games from Davenport.
Weakness for the kiddies? I mean, Kirby Joseph, nobody likes him because of all the knee terrorism, but Kirby's won the battle, okay? Kirby's won the battle by hitting Higbee and Hawkinson the way he did.
Yeah.
Because now people are going to see things on film and they're going to be thinking about it during games. Kirby won until you get enough games where he doesn't do that. Weakness for the Detroit Lions. Quarterback's reliable, been to the Super Bowl. 1-2 running back punch is quite good. Amon-Ra's, he's high-end stock. Laporta's probably the best in the game, maybe second best. Reader and McNeil, Aiden Hutchinson sitting on a Fort Knox. Jack Campbell had a little bounce back. Anzalone's playing better than he's ever played, including at New Orleans. Corners got better. The widening of the concourses at Ford Field, that's something they started to work on last year, anticipating, they're going to need wide concourses. I mean, if you're going to be a Super Bowl type team, you need to have Super Bowl type concourses. Yeah. Their concourses on level 6 below the press level are way too narrow. So
I always love that.
They started working on those, and that's probably the biggest flaw with the organization at this moment, quite honestly.
That's some sounds of the North, keeping you posted on what, this is going to be a muddy NFC North in 2024. We'll keep you posted as we hear more comments and commentary into week 1 and beyond.
And we have comments and commentary from Minnesota Vikings offensive coordinator, Wes Phillips, defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, and special teams coordinator Matt Daniels. And Nordo was nice enough to mash all of that up so we don't go like elongated press conference after press conference after press conference. We're just going to go ahead and cut that bad boy up, offer some thought along the way as part of the Sounds of the North, a day in front of the National Football League season and a handful of days in front of the Viking season opener at MetLife against the New York Giants. 10 o'clock for the pregame with main man Muss. Then the boom shortly after noon on FM 100.3 KFAN.
Welcome back, 9 to noon. It is time for Vikes Bites. And Vikes Bites is always brought to you by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef. And you can go to thousandhillslifetimegrazed.com. Pick yourself up some product online, learn about regenerative agriculture, or you can go to your local Coborns and co-ops. You're a big maroon and gold fan in this town. Well, guess what they're eating? They're eating Thousand Hills. And we're going to start, it is an audio-heavy segment here, PA. I'm going to start with defensive coordinator Brian Flores. And as you said, we're not playing the entire press conference, but I did want to play a couple of minutes with some tidbits here from the defensive coordinator. And they start off talking about Daniel Jones.
From Daniel Jones, what he was in 22, what he was in 23, and what do you expect him now?
I mean, he's a very talented quarterback. Smart, has command of the offense, has won in this league. Athletic, the QB mobility is the thing that jumps out, and his ability to run. And I know he's dealt with some injuries, but I'm sure that's still part of his game. And his ability to kind of get the ball downfield and creating off-script plays for them. I think he's a very good player, and this will be a tough challenge for us.
Brian, from just watching from the sideline at training camp, watching Jonathan Grenard, it looks like he has kind of a lot of tools in the toolbox. How do you just look at his myriad of pass rush moves and what that can do for him when he can do a lot of different things?
Yeah, JG's he's been a great addition. Like you said, he's been in the league for a little while now. This has been his 5th year. And he's got an array and a variety of, pass rush moves. What I was, not surprised because it showed up on film, but he's really got an all-around game. So, setting the edge in a run game, stunt footwork. He works well with others within, pass rush games, getting in gaps and, making plays for other guys. He's a team guy. Got a lot of ideas, got a lot of things that there's a lot of kind of football chatter and dialogue with him, which I like. He's been a great addition. I think I'm excited to see, what that looks like this year.
So that's Brian Flores, defensive coordinator. I want to start with the Daniel Jones bit, PA.
Well, who was he last talking about?
Jonathan Grenard.
JG.
What about Daniel?
Well, Daniel Jones, it felt like in some ways, have you ever just said something nice for the sake of being nice, PA? Have you ever done that in your life?
Of course.
Where at times you look at things and okay, well, this isn't a situation where I want to dagger somebody completely. But what I got out of Brian Flores is he talked about the talent. That's real. That the talent does exist and all of those things. That it's very difficult for anybody to truly predict what Daniel Jones is going to look like. You talked with Pat Leonard earlier in the show, New York Daily News. The fan base is completely done with him, tired of him. The Hard Knocks bit where there were rumors that maybe they were trying to jump up for a QB, not a wide receiver in Malik Neighbors that they ultimately drafted.
Right.
Like in some ways, it's just, yeah, they got that guy, and certainly he can throw the ball and he can run a little bit, but yeah, well, it's a tough test. That's what I felt, kind of the vibe from Flores, who handled it maybe more professionally than we would in the radio opinion-making game.
Daniel Jones is enigmatic. He truly is an enigma, because in his rookie year, 2019, that is his greatest statistical year, all right? And it is because he threw 24 touchdowns against 12 interceptions. But his record in his 12 starts was 3-9. So that has some big box score to it. He goes 9-6-1 in 2022, and he was good in the wild card round playoff game, which ended with that check down. But during the course of the year, he started 16 games, and he threw 15 touchdowns in the whole season. 15 touchdowns. Now, he ran for 7 that year, all right? And I think he ran for 1 or 2 last year, but then he got hurt in the 6th game, ripped up his ACL. But what plays into the enigmatic part of that conundrum is he was sacked. His sack percentage last year was 15.8. That's about the highest I've ever seen in my life for somebody who's played. It's like the baby Bryce Young thing last year when the Vikings went to Carolina, where we're like 3-4 games into it, so you got a decent little sample size here. And Bryce Young's yards per attempt was 4.3. And just like in 90 to 110 attempts, I've never seen that. Well, with Jones getting sacked 15.8% of your dropbacks.
30 times in 6 games.
How about that? 30 times in 6 games, 44 the year before. The book on Daniel Jones is he holds the ball too long.
Yeah.
And he holds it, and then he tries to run himself out of it. And it just sounds like a lot of like next level things I would hear about Case Keenum. Mm-hmm. Where Case, it's when the Vikings played the Eagles in the NFC title game. The book on Keenum and what the Eagles executed was, if you keep him in the pocket and don't let him run, they can't beat us. Well, they kept him in the pocket the entire game. We had pick six terrorism, and it was just a complete disaster after Big Boy caught the touchdown. Well, that's kind of a higher-end version with Daniel Jones, where if you can keep him in the pocket, he just doesn't process it quickly enough to make the right decision. So what do? They signed John Runyon from the Packers. I don't think Green Bay necessarily fought that hard to keep Runyon either, so you can read into that however you want. Their second year with John Michael Schmitz, they're hoping it's better than the first year. And with all that said, they draft Malik Neighbors. So, and I actually like this if he's singled, is if Daniel can't get out of the pocket and there's trouble, just throw it up to him. He'll win the 50-50. Well, what happens if he's doubled? What happens if Darius Slayton continues to drop passes as frequently as he does? Darren Waller was an enigma of his own right there last year. He's gone. They like Daniel Bellinger, but he's not. I mean, Bellinger's he shouldn't be in the class of Waller if Waller's paying attention. So the whole thing here comes back to Daniel Jones, where if you present a defense that confuses him, you're supposed to sack him 5 or 6 times. We'll just leave it right there and see what happens Sunday at noon on KFAN, because Flores is of the confuse the quarterback variety. But in first games can be coaches' games, where Daboll is now calling the plays for the New York Giants. He's taken he's going to call the plays. Okay, so that's a first for him with the New York Giants. That's going to be different too. Going to be a lot of chucking it up to old Malik Neighbors in this game, and we'll see what happens.
To the special teams ranks, and you can listen to the entire press conference via Vikings.com. Matt Daniels, I kind of got caught in his web of magnetism, where he's explaining for like 5 straight minutes the different potentialities of the new kickoff. But in particular, here he is being asked about Kene Nwangwu ultimately not being a fit.
Kickoff returns, Todd. Why was he not a fit for this new format in your eyes?
I wouldn't say necessarily he wasn't a fit for the new kickoff return scheme. It was more of a matter of credit to Myles Gaskin and what he did during the preseason, showing himself as truly a complete 3-down back, versatile football player, while also being able to add from a special teams role as well. So it's more so in line kind of what Myles Gaskin did on an offensive level, more so than what Kene did not do in terms of not being a true fit for the new kickoff return rules.
So that's
wow.
How about that?
Well, that's aggressive, because Kene never has looked better as a running back in his life than at least pro life, as he did this last preseason.
But I wanted to link this up because later on he's asked about Ty Chandler.
Experience doing it, but what makes him the best fit for
the kickoff? I would probably say it's contact balance. If you kind of look at what the preseason looked like, guys are going to need to be able to break tackles. There's going to be times where you're going to get free hitters through, and let's be honest, the runners are taking a good little bit of a pounding. So you want to make sure you got somebody back there who's just a little bit more sturdy, who can handle possibly getting hit up top and down low at the same time. So you look for a guy who's got good vision, who's got good contact balance, who can press it one way, get it in and get it out. But also they got to be able to attack the cover team fearlessly, vertically. And he has that. He's got a knack for it. He's got great contact balance, great vision. And, he's a running back, just a natural runner.
So ultimately, what I gathered from those 2 clips, as you mentioned it, is Kene had never looked better in training camp as a runner on the offensive side. There's a physical element to this where Ty Chandler maybe built different, built stronger, and Myles Gaskin built tougher, built stronger. When Kene gets to the edge and it's just outrun a guy, few are fast enough to keep up.
Yeah.
But in terms of being a guy that can find his way through the wash, get out, take physical hits, stay upright, and keep it moving, it sounds like they had faith not only in Gaskin, but definitely Ty Chandler, more so than they had in Nwangwu. New kickoffs and all special teams duties included.
I really like how you laid that out, because you can get a trap or you can get a double once, twice, or 3 times. that's going to get the returner to the outside, and he's going to do some damage. But then they're going to take it away from you, and they're just going to say, well, we don't believe you think this guy as a running back can handle things between the tackles in claustrophobic situations. So why are we to believe he'll be able to handle things around the hash marks on a kick return? Okay, so now, and I believe that to be true. So what's the next layer? All right, well, if so-and-so goes down, can we use him at running back? Well, the answer there is no. Most likely no. All right, well, he's one of our gunners. Okay, well, is he better than Jalen Naylor? Is he better than Jay Ward? Is he better than Gunner du jour? Answer there may have been maybe, but is it really worth costing Levi Drake Rodriguez, Jalen Redmond, Taki Taimani, Tristan Jackson, Nick Muse, Michael Juergens? Is it really worth subjecting them to potentially leaving the covenant and going to another team? Well, the answer clearly was no. Now, Ty Chandler's the backup running back behind Aaron Jones, so he has a role. Brandon Powell is a receiver they will use, and he's also the punt returner. So you have multiple roles there. It just seems like that things just kind of dried up for Kane from the overall versatility standpoint, and that's another, well, Ty Chandler has juice, okay, and Matt Daniels is aggressive. So Graham Gano was having some problems at the end of last year, from what I understand, with the touchbacks.
Ooh. And
it's windy at MetLife Stadium. So they can try to boom it out there all they want. Matt's the kind who will set up returns from 5 yards deep in the end zone. So a lot of these rules, a lot of these edicts that you would know in the kicking game are going to change. If you're 5 yards deep in the end zone, go to a knee every single time, take the touchback, go to the 30. However, with the way the things are set up now, if you feel you have a good return against a coverage unit that may have some perceived L's and you can get that thing on the run, Chandler has juice. And Daniels is really good at what he does. So now I'm starting to get excited about the kicking game all of a sudden. Hey.
And my last bit for you here is going to be Wes Phillips. They're discussing run schemes in the NFL.
2024, it doesn't seem like teams just kind of run the same thing over and over again. So when you're putting in a running game plan, how does that operation work?
Yeah, I think you're right about that in a sense where, it used to be teams, they're a gap pull team, gap trap, type team. They're a wide zone only team, and that's what they do. I still think you have to have an emphasis on kind of the big picture concepts that you want to focus on, and rep and practice throughout camp, throughout the off season, and then you're just trying to look at the defense, trying to fit those schemes in, the things your guys know and have executed well, trying to fit those in every week just based on whatever the defense is presenting to you.
See, and I played that clip because I understand exactly what Wes Phillips is saying. I didn't get a lot from it functionally in terms of what I'm envisioning for the rushing attack. And also in part that wasn't, I'm not indicting Wes here. He answered the question he was asked. But that led me down the road when I was listening to that this morning, PA, is if someone came up to me and asked me, what is the emphasis that Wes Phillips and Kevin O'Connell are putting on this rushing attack, I would have a really hard time answering that. And it was whether, and we've gone through it. It's, short-term yardage situation. You hit on it years ago when it was like, you look at this offensive line, they might keep Kirk upright, but what if you need to just move a guy 1 yard down the field? Can you do that at the goal line? And I'm just thinking about our rushing attack. Aaron Jones will have a lot to say in terms of that identity and ultimately the emphasis, but I don't know how to describe that until I start seeing it. And I just hope it's better than a year ago.
Right. And you say emphasis. I'm going to take it a step farther and say the Minnesota Vikings running game lacks identity. And it lacked identity when Dalvin was putting up good yards and having a good yards per carry. It lacks identity. I believe the offensive staff and probably the head coach, I believe that to a certain extent they feel that. And the identity will reveal itself. But it's not going to be an identity that becomes overly identifiable with the Minnesota Vikings offense. This is a passing offense. that attacks zones, specifically the middle of the field, as well as anybody I've ever seen in all the games I've called. You have a superstar receiver. Your best skill guys and your best players, generally speaking, are on offense. So this is a run to set up the pass more than a pass to set up the run. But off the emphasis, which you said, I would just like to know, how is it identifiable? What is the identity? Are you good between the tackles? Are you good enough between the tackles so that when you get these running backs on sweeps, or you get these running backs on like counter trays, okay, where like the guards pull?
Yeah.
Is because Jones is super patient and Chandler is really good between the tackles. Ty Chandler weaves between the hole beautifully. So I guess that part's identifiable, but the totality of the Vikings running game really lacked identity last year. And a couple of years ago, while explosive at times and good enough, they still threw 61% of the time.
Yeah.
I don't think O'Connell's ever going to be a 55-45, a 53-47.
He wants to be 90-10.
I mean, well, yeah, he came here wanting to be 80-20, and somebody has to slow him down.
And the 10 are kneel downs at the end of a lopsided victory.
But the passing game is good. I've used this example 100 times. You saw Dobbs, you know what you saw. You saw Hall, you know what you saw. You saw Mullins, and it looked like the Vikings offense. Guys running open, he's throwing people open, they're catching it on the run.
Yeah.
They had a little turnover problem at the end. But
both teams always had a chance to win.
But I think with Mullins at the helm, I think we averaged 400 yards of offense each game, or 400 yards passing, one of the two.
Specifically against that Lions defense that struggled.
And and the Lions played their guys in that game the majority of the game.
They did.
And Cincinnati, too, which is Cincinnati had a little bit to play for on that Saturday. But they still, Trey Hendrickson, they still have guys who know how to get to the Super Bowl. So that's really intriguing. I would just encourage you and encourage people to not invest too much energy or emotion into the running game if it doesn't go exactly the way people want it to go.
Yeah.
The I formation, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And then you get 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Then you go play action. There's Munt for 6, first down. It's going to be different. And the throwing to the running backs is also part of the equation. But just identifying a running game, and this is what the Vikings do with the running game.
Yep.
That's kind of what I'm looking for. I think kind of what you're looking for, too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Vikes Bites brought to you by Thousand Hills, PA.
Our final segment this beautiful Wednesday is next on KFAN.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
All righty, let's say goodbye. The Dan Cole, the Common Man program is around the corner. Best of luck to the Twins this evening. Couple of openers doing battle. Ronnie Enriquez and Cole Sulzer for Tampa Bay. Go crazy with all that. Cleveland at Kansas City. That's been lively against Seth Lugo. That's going to be very entertaining. Just like a couple of nights from now, where a lot of the focus will be on Baltimore at Kansas City. Miss Reeves' Lynx are at Indiana in a couple of days, and those are always entertaining for just strange reasons, and can't wait. Thank you very much for listening today. Much more tomorrow, which will include Nacho Lieber joining 9 to noon, and I'm Paul Allen. Here comes Nordo with that wrap on the show.
Hey, thank you, Casey's, for bringing you the 9 to noon show wraps. Casey's. Absolutely love you, Casey's.
Guess who's back?
All right, I wrote this in 3 minutes. Today, I don't have much of a rap. Kind of got caught in a wife text string trap. It's one of my kids begging to already stay home from school, and then I told the missus not to be played a fool. It's how I got the David Kahn nickname. I'm quick to sniff out 9-year-olds' con games. As predictable as Mission Impossible, Ving Rhames. Any other parents out there, they're thinking same. Can't wait. Week 1, all preseason projecting, about to be done, and hoping the rest of the NFC North goes 0-1 while Daniel Jones takes an L under the New Jersey sun. And tomorrow might as well make some picks. Moves the meter like Sammy will be moving the sticks. Getting closer to the Friday feast and all the tricks. Charge went camping, needs to check his undercarriage for ticks.
In your face, Milwaukee!
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous shows going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.